Imagine this. You're standing in your kitchen after lunch. Oh, wait, it's 2 o'clock. It's not lunchtime anymore, but a kiddo is asking for food, and you're thinking, didn't we just make lunch? The dishes are not done. And the math curriculum is still sitting unopened on the kitchen table. Your ADHD sixth grader has asked you the same question like possibly 17 times, and you suddenly realize you haven't eaten lunch. You're not even hungry anymore. You're just tired. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a voice telling you, something has got to change. I can't keep doing life this way. Not even sure I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. If that's you, if you're the mom holding it all together while your own brain is spinning, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Confident Homeschool Mom podcast, a space for moms who look capable on the outside but feel scattered, depleted, and unsure of themselves on the inside. I'm Teresa Wiedrich, graduated homeschool mom, certified life coach, and host of the Confident Homeschool Mom podcast. I began homeschooling for freedom, but by year 3, I felt buried under my mental load, my perfectionistic tendencies, and an invisible pressure to get it all right. Everything shifted when I learned to pay attention to what actually worked for us and rebuild trust in myself. Here's what I've learned after years of doing this work. Most homeschool support focuses outward on curriculum, the schedule, the methods. My work focuses inward on the woman running it all. Because most homeschool overwhelm has nothing to do with curriculum. It has everything to do with pressure, perfectionism, and the old scripts we carry inside. Small intentional shifts can change everything when we nurture the nurturer. So today we're talking about what happens when everyone in your house has ADHD, or at least you and another kiddo. I'll be straight up with you. I am not going to hand you a new system. I know you might be thinking I will, because that is often the most common conversation point I have with a mom that has ADHD, with a kid with ADHD, and yet these 5 steps that she's probably already seen on the internet or somebody else has introduced her to, this chore chart that seems miraculous to someone somewhere, these are not the things I think have the most resonance with moms. Here's what I've learned coaching moms in exactly this scenario. Moms that are diagnosed with ADHD and have a kiddo or two with ADHD. The last thing you need is more information. I know you've read the books. You've already tried the planners. What you need is something very different. And that's what we're going to dig into today. So I want to tell you about a mom I worked with. Truth, she's a composite, because I work with many moms with executive functioning challenges. Let's call her Kara. Kara has 2 daughters, 11 and 7. She's been homeschooling the entire time. Her 6th grader has ADHD. They do classical conversations on Mondays. She teaches astronomy to 30 kids at co-op on Fridays. Her husband works late. And somewhere in the middle of all that, she's supposed to get through actual curriculum, keep the house running, volunteer at church, and oh yeah, exist as a human being. When Kara reached out to me, here's what she said. I'm really struggling with feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm struggling with getting through all the things we need to do when we're at home, plus chores and home life, and then volunteering at church. And then she said the thing that really got me. I know something has to change to make this sustainable. Sustainable, as in, she wasn't sure she was going to keep doing it if she kept doing it like this. Now, here's what Kara didn't say, because most of us don't say this, because we don't even realize it's true. She had become her family's operating system, constantly anticipating, tracking all the activities, adjusting, because she was the one that knew she could adjust, holding things together for everyone around her, including emotions. She was the external hard drive for her daughter's brain and her own brain and the entire household. And that level of vigilance, and ain't no one living there indefinitely without burning out. It was not sustainable. She knew it deeply, and oh, she was right. Here's what I want you to hear, because I think this might be your story too. Even though Kara did not feel like she was getting all the things done and barely aware of what the day was, let alone whether she had lunch, she still wasn't failing. She was indeed doing too much. And it was working just well enough to keep her wondering why she couldn't do it ideally, why it didn't feel good as she was doing it, and why she wasn't able to dot all the I's and cross all the T's all the time. Her constant involvement in things kept things moving forward, even though to her it felt slowly and it didn't feel enough. That she kept signing up to things and showing up to things and trying meant that she felt like she was doing her good mothering role. She was being the good mother. It felt like what she was supposed to do. So why would she stop doing the thing, even if it didn't feel good? Because letting go definitely did not feel neutral. It did not feel okay. It felt risky. If she didn't stop hovering, she said to me, if I stop hovering over math, my daughter won't do it. If I stop prompting every step, everything will fall apart. If I stop being available every second, I'm abandoning her. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Here's the thing about homeschooling when everyone has ADHD. Your daughter is struggling. That is real. Her brain is working overtime, especially if, to top it off, she's approaching puberty, when her hormones make emotional regulation more challenging, when hormones make working memory even harder. Research shows that what was manageable at age 8 becomes significantly harder at age 11. Not because her ADHD was necessarily worse, but because her brain is now managing hormonal shifts. So, of course, you, mom, stepped in. Of course, you became the safety net because it's what we do. But you also began compensating. And I'll say this gently, what starts as support slowly becomes something else. And I know this from my personal experience. This is not just Kara's experience. Been there, done this too. You become the reminder system, the homework monitor, the emotional regulation system of the entire family, the one who holds the mental load for everyone so nothing falls through the cracks. You become all the things. You become the mind, the heart, the driver, the feed prep person, the educational planner. You are all the things. And that is not sustainable. I think somewhere deep down you know that, but knowing it and knowing what to do about it are not the same things. So you want to hear what happened with Kara? We did not start with systems, even though I know that's the default mechanism of the discussion around ADHD right now. We didn't start with schedules or habit trackers or consequences, although maybe all those things pertain. We started with her because, and this is what I keep coming back to in my work, you can't actually teach your daughter to manage her own brain if you haven't learned to manage yours. You can't create space for her to struggle productively if you're white-knuckling your way through life. The shift for Kara wasn't finding the right reward chart. It wasn't discovering some magic curriculum, magic routine, magic habit trackers, magic consequence systems, or any other kind of system. This shift was realizing that she had a choice. She could keep being everyone's operating system, anticipating and managing and trying to hold it all together. Or she could start doing something different, something that definitely felt uncomfortable at first. something that required her to tolerate her own anxiety when her daughter struggled. I'm not going to tell you exactly what that looked like because what worked for Kara might not be what's going to work for you. And that actually is the whole point. But I will tell you what changed. Her mornings began to feel calmer. She even started to have routine mornings. Her daughter started initiating work without being told. Not every day, and definitely not every subject, but sometimes. And sometimes for her, that was a revelation. Kara stopped being the 24/7 help desk, and her daughter, with some frustration and some adjustment over the course of time, started writing down her questions, started trying things on her own, and even learning independently, even though she might have struggled for a few minutes, and then learned that that wasn't the end of the world. She could struggle for a few minutes. And Kara, she started eating lunch again. And if you are a mom with ADHD that has a kiddo with ADHD, you probably really relate to that statement. A girl gotta get lunch. Now, I could tell you the specific things Kara did differently. I could walk you through the framework and the strategies, but here's why I'm not going to. Because you've probably already read some version of this. You've already seen the posts about time blocking. You certainly heard me speak about time blocking. You know about natural consequences. You know about accepting your child as they are and letting go of the thing, the child, the way that they're going to be in the world. You're going to let go of that. And you know all these things. I'm sure you're nodding along and thinking, yeah, I should do those things. And then Monday comes, and your daughter asks you the same questions 17 times again, and you're tired, and you do what you always do because in that moment, that's all you have. See, information, it doesn't change behavior. What changes behavior is support, reflection, someone who can see what you can't see, someone who can hold space while you figure out your version of this homeschool life. Not Kara's version, not my version, but yours. P.S. That's called coaching. Coaching isn't me telling you what to do. It's me helping you figure out what's actually going on in your home, your family, your brain, and then supporting you while you experiment with doing things differently. Because the shift that Kara made didn't happen in one conversation. It happened across many conversations, many weeks, many moments where she'd want to go back to the old way, and we talk about why and what she was afraid of, what was at the root of it, and what she actually wanted. That kind of change does not come from a podcast episode. It comes from being in relationship with someone who gets it. So let me speak to you, dear listener, directly for a moment. If you are the mom standing in the kitchen, well after lunch, early afternoon even, wondering how you got here or why you're still here. If you're the one who's read all the books and tried all the things and you're still exhausted and don't know what to do. If you've been carrying everyone's executive function in your brain or you're starting to buckle under the weight of that, I want you to know you really aren't failing. I know it feels like it because I hear that all the time. But you're not failing. You just have too much going on. And you've been doing it in a way that was never meant to be sustainable. But I bet already you know that. You already know that something needs to change. The question is, are you ready to stop trying to figure it out by yourself? You, dear listener, are invited to join me for your free Aligned Homeschool Reset session. The link is in the show notes. Thanks for joining me today. Remember, you matter in your homeschool life, and every tiny shift you make toward alignment ripples into your kids, your home, and your sense of self. You have the capacity to lead your days with presence calm and clarity. Let me be your reminder to nurture the nurturer. If this episode resonated, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you know another homeschool mom who's craving this kind of peace and confidence or just a moment to breathe, share this with her. It might be exactly what she needs. Until next time, take care of yourself, nurture the nurturer, and lead your homeschool life from the inside